You are the master of your fate. Let's begin. Let me say something most people won't. The more advice you seek, the weaker you become. Not because asking is bad, but because most people don't ask for help. They ask for permission. They want someone to bless the move, to absorb the risk, to make the outcome feel safer. And that, my friend, is a trap. Because the longer you keep handing your fire to other people, the dimmer your decision-making becomes. Now, I'm not saying don't learn. I'm not saying don't listen, but I've seen too many people get stuck in a loop they call figuring it out, when what they're really doing is avoiding the moment they have to trust themselves. And here's the hook. It doesn't feel like fear. It feels like research, like strategy, like wisdom, but it's fear in a better outfit. It's hesitation disguised as intelligence. It's procrastination dressed in good intentions. And if you don't get honest about it, you'll start building your entire life on someone else's certainty. So in this video, I'm going to show you why advice addiction is killing your clarity, the real reason you keep second guessing. And at the end, I'll give you a 3-question filter that will sharpen your decisions for life. You'll know exactly when to seek input, and more importantly, when to act without asking. This isn't about ignoring others. It's about rebuilding the part of you that already knows what to do and just needs permission from no one. Ready? In the next section, I'll show you how advice seeking often masks fear and why so many stay stuck for years thinking. Let's get honest for a moment. You say you're looking for direction. You say you just want to make the right choice. You say you're gathering wisdom. But here's what I've seen too many times to count. You're not growing. You're delaying. Not because you're lazy, because you're afraid to be wrong. So you disguise that fear by collecting input. You bounce your idea off 5 friends. You ask strangers online. You send voice notes and read articles and talk it through over and over. And each time you do, you feel a little more prepared, but you've still made no move. Let me tell you what that really is. It's mental busywork, and it's costing you your future. Because the longer you stand at the crossroads, the harder it becomes to trust your own feet. You're not confused. You're just hoping someone else will carry the weight of your choice. That way, if it fails, it's not your fault. And if it succeeds, you can say you were being wise. But here's the truth. Advice isn't clarity. It's often just a way to delay commitment. You want to know why most people stay stuck for years? Because they never fully commit to anything. They can't blame on someone else. That's not growth. That's self-protection, and it will keep you exactly where you are, with perfect excuses and no progress. So I'm going to give you something better. I'm going to show you how to break that loop, how to filter advice, use it the right way, and stop leaking your power before the first step is ever taken. But first, I need to show you the price you're already paying for outsourcing you direction. Next, we uncover the hidden cost of constant input, how it dilutes your mission and delays your rise. Let me tell you something nobody's saying out loud. The more voices you collect, the more lost you become. Not because other people are wrong, but because you were never meant to build your vision through committee. That's what happens when you ask everyone what to do. You get 10 opinions on a dream only you were called to carry. You absorb fears that aren't yours. You start hesitating over decisions you used to make with conviction. You don't get stronger. You get scattered. And the worst part, you start second-guessing the one thing you need to build anything meaningful: self-trust. The person who used to say, "I'll figure it out," now says, "Let me ask around first." And every time you do that without discernment, you train your mind to need a green light from the outside before you move. Let me be clear. Advice isn't evil, but unfiltered advice is poison to progress. Because if you change direction every time someone frowns, you'll never build anything worth standing on. Let me give you a pattern I've seen over and over. Someone has a solid idea. They share it too early. A reasonable voice raises a doubt. They tweak it, water it down, or worse, abandon it. And just like that, the original idea, the real one, dies in the name of being smart. No, that's not smart. That's letting fear wear a name tag that says wisdom. So here's what you need to remember. Your vision loses power every time you hand it over for validation. And the more you do it, the more you shrink the thing you were supposed to build loud, strong, and true. But don't worry, we're not stopping here. Next, I'm going to show you how the successful do use advice, not as a crutch, but as a tool. Not before they move, but after. Coming up, how builders use input strategically, and what they do before they ever ask anyone for help. Let me tell you what separates builders from browsers. Builders move first, then they ask. Not for permission, for precision. Most people ask, "What should I do?" But real operators ask, "I've already started this. How would you sharpen it?" That's the difference. They don't hand you a blank slate and beg for a roadmap. They hand you a blueprint already in motion and say, "Point out what I missed." That's how people like Ford moved. He didn't wander around asking what kind of engine he should build. He didn't spend 2 years polling the market. He started building. He tested. He broke things. He refined. He trusted motion more than consensus. Because here's what high-level minds know. If you ask for advice before you commit, you get noise. If you ask after you move, you get leverage. Why? Because now you're asking better questions. Now the feedback is grounded in something real. Now you're filtering from a place of ownership, not insecurity. You're not outsourcing the vision. You're upgrading the execution. There's a huge difference between those two. The weak man says, "Tell me what to do." The strong man says, "Here's what I'm doing. Show me what I'm missing." And let me be blunt. No one can give you clarity if you haven't earned it through action. You don't get better answers until you've proven you're willing to act without them. So from now on, build first, ask after, lead with movement, not requests. Because the right mentor doesn't want to guide someone who's still deciding whether they're serious. They want to refine someone who's already building. And if that's you, then yes, ask. If not, you don't need more advice. You need to decide. Next, we lock in the tool. The 3-question filter that makes sure you're asking advice for the right reason, at the right time. You want to know when it's the right time to ask for input, not when you feel stuck, not when you feel nervous, and definitely not when you're hoping someone else will take the weight of the decision. You ask for input after you've passed this test, the 3-question filter that will save you from wasting time, shrinking your idea, or diluting your momentum. Write these down, memorize them, live by them. Question 1. Have I already done real thinking on this? Not scrolling, not talking, thinking. Have you sat down, faced the problem directly, and worked it out like someone who takes responsibility for their mind? If you haven't, stop. You're not asking for advice. You're asking someone to do your thinking for you. Question 2. Have I made a decision I'm willing to act on with or without feedback? This is the real test. If you need a yes before you move, you're not looking for guidance, you're looking for approval. But when you've already decided, when you're moving forward either way, now feedback becomes a tool, not a crutch. Question 3. Am I seeking precision or permission? That's the gut check. Precision says, "Help me aim sharper." Permission says, "Tell me it's okay to be me." Only one builds your power, because permission seeking puts someone else in charge of your mission. And that's the fastest way to build the right thing, the wrong way. Let me say it clearly. You don't need more advice. You need more movement with fewer apologies. And when you move like someone who trusts their mind, you stop needing constant approval, and you start attracting the kind of insight that makes you dangerous. So next time your fingers hover over the keyboard, about to send that message asking someone what to do, run the filter. If you can't say yes to all 3 questions, close the tab, close the conversation, open your calendar, and make the move. Next, we land the final message, how your future shifts the moment you stop asking and start acting. Let me leave you with this. Clarity doesn't come before movement. It comes because of it. You want to build something real. Stop asking so much. Start deciding more. Because every time you make a move, even a small one, you send a signal to your own mind. I am the source. I am the builder. I am the one who moves first. And the more you live that, the less you need permission, applause, or confirmation. That's how I saw every great man rise. Carnegie didn't wait to be validated. Ford didn't ask if the world was ready. Edison didn't poll the room before he lit it. They acted, they adjusted, and when they asked for input, it was never to decide if they should move, only how to move smarter. That's how power is built, quietly, privately, internally. So here's what I want you to do. Before you ask anyone what to do next, stop and ask yourself, have I really thought this through? Have I made a decision I believe in? Am I asking to sharpen the edge, or because I'm too afraid to swing it? And if the answer reveals fear, don't shame yourself. Just move. That's how the strongest people I ever met learned to trust themselves. Not by always being right, but by refusing to sit still. The future doesn't belong to those who always know what to do. It belongs to those who act like they're allowed to build, even before the world tells them they can. Remember, your success begins the moment you decide to act.